Hello, my name is Chris Gilbert and I'm just going to give you my opinion on Brexit for what it's worth. For a second time, we the British voters are being duped and pressured into believing that it will be a travesty if we were to vote not to remain in the EU. In 1973, Britain joined the EEC, the European Economic Community, also known as the Common Market. This was a regional organisation which aimed to bring about economic integration among its member states. The definition of this economic integration is really this. It is the unification of economic policies between different states through the partial or full abolition of tariff and non-tariff restrictions on trade taking place among them prior to integration. This is meant in turn to lead to lower prices for the distributors and consumers, with the goal of increasing the level of welfare, while leading to the increase of economic productivity of those states. In layman's terms, free trade between those countries and open borders for free movement of goods for trade, resulting in improved economy and welfare in those member states. Well, that was then. It does seem, however, that over the years, things have gone awry somewhat from the original idea of the EEC. That was what we as a nation voted for in 1975. It is not what we have now in any way, shape or form, and definitely not what the British people voted for in the last referendum. It seems to have become a tyrannical European nanny state with unelected elitist bureaucrats demanding that we toe the line. Their ultimate goal, it seems, is a USE, United States of Europe. That is not what I want. Do you? As for improved economy in the EU, just look at Greece, Portugal, Spain, Italy and Ireland. Doesn't really look so good there, does it? In fact, the German Chancellor is demanding that Greece do not miss any due loan payments. Greece can't afford a pot to piss in right now. Fuck. Anyway, in the first referendum held in 1975, the question to be asked to the British electorate that was set one out within the legislation was, do you think the United Kingdom should remain part of the European community, the common market, requiring a simple yes-no answer. The vote then was 67% in favour to remain. My, how they were totally duped. Now, in 2016, some 41 years later, we have another referendum. The Prime Minister proclaims, should we leave the EU, peace could be a thing of the past for Europe and a recession will surely follow. The Bank of England also forecasts doom and gloom. The Chancellor predicts doom and gloom, and surprise, surprise, the IMF came out recently suggesting that if the UK were to leave the EU, it would be a totally negative outcome for the UK's economy, employment and global credibility. More doom and gloom. For me, that raises many questions. However, the prominent question is, do they really know all this? The answer is actually simple. They don't really know anything. It is all supposition. They, indeed, everyone, expert or not, can only speculate on the consequences, good or bad, if we do actually leave. As a Brexit is an unknown entity. The reason for all the negativity isn't actually rocket science. That said, I am hearing many bad forecasts to our economy if we leave, but there is no clarification as to why the results of a Brexit would be so dire. For example, why is it that pensioners will lose between £18,000 and £32,000 as quoted by the Chancellor recently? He doesn't offer an explanation. It is very easy to pronounce doom and gloom. I could do it, you could do it. But if someone tells me that families will be £4,300 worse off per year, I want them to tell me why and how. Again, it is all supposition. Scaremongering, if you will. The Bank of England boss, Mark Carney, was employed by the Chancellor. So no surprise there then. The Chancellor is with the PM, obviously. It is well documented that he wants David Cameron's job when he steps down or is pushed. Please no. As for the IMF, well, it is funded by the EU. So their negativity towards a Brexit is a foregone conclusion. Because in reality, the EU is beside itself with worry that we may just vote to leave. And if we do, the end of the EU will eventually follow, I feel. What we as a nation need to remember is that the EU needs us more than we need them. After a small potential hiccup, should we vote to leave, the pound will fall slightly, as financial markets tend to panic to any sort of change, even if too many people fart at once. But I have no doubt that things will get back to a new normal, and I believe we will be better off, much more than has been predicted by the so-called experts. Or are we to succumb to the scare tactics of those that still think we should be part of the EU, but not the Euro though, so not really full members? If we are not completely signed up to the EU, how are we ever going to be taken seriously by them? Or, as we would be led to believe by David Cameron, actually have a say in its policies and decisions? The Prime Minister openly wishes to remain in the EU because he naively thinks it will still reform. The EU, however, has no wish to reform, nor has it any reason or plans to reform. David Cameron continually tells us that we will be better off in a reformed EU. So my question to him is, what happens if the EU refuses to reform? As for me, I will be voting to leave. For me, the EU just doesn't cut it. It is becoming dictatorial. Its handling of the recent Greek crisis was a prime example. Their answer is to lend Greece more money that the EU knows it will not be able to afford to repay. It's not generating any income. I'm not afraid of change and believe that change is good. But I feel that the majority of voters in this country are afraid of change and will act like scared little sheep and vote to stay in the EU. That for many in this country will be a very sad day. It will just prove that scare tactics work and ignorance will prevail. Finally, a few days ago I heard the UK's patriotic song, Rule Britannia. And the chorus goes, Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the waves. Britons never, never, never shall be slaves. But sadly, we are and have been for many years slaves to the EU. Most of you just can't see it. Shame on you. To our leaders and MPs, you are weak with no vision, imagination or belief in this country or its people. As far as I'm concerned, David Cameron has failed this country and its people. In short, he has sold us out. I must say that I feel a little patronised by all the outrageous numbers being bandied about by the innies. Again, stop with the scare taxes and for once be open and honest, if that's possible. The euro was a bad idea. You know, as soon as those countries converted to the euro, prices rocketed, and now many of those countries are struggling. I think the important question that we as a nation should be asking is, if we had never joined up and you were asked now, would you want to join the EU as it is now? I'm sure the honest answer would be a resounding no. With just over 2 weeks to go to the vote, I would like to ask David Cameron what he and his government intend to do for our country's best interests. Should we actually vote to leave? I'm sure many people would like to know before the vote. Or does he not know? So, that is my take on the EU and our upcoming referendum. Thanks for watching. I hope you didn't get too bored. Take care, be safe and vote leave. Thanks, bye.